'Cause I've got strength to believe you join me inside the 2022 Nissan Frontier. And it's all new, guys, except for the platform. The platform is based on the old Frontier, the one that was introduced 17 years ago. No, and the engine and transmission, yeah, those come from the 2020 Nissan Frontier. But the body is all new. And so in this in-depth review of the Frontier's exterior, interior, and driving dynamics, we're going to see whether this 2022 Frontier is a worthy adversary for the small/mid-size trucks out there. And specifically in this Pro-4X off-road version trim, we're going to see whether it's a competitor to the off-road versions of those small, mid-size truck rivals. That's today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the 22 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X. This one is painted in cardinal red tri-coat. It'll cost you a bit extra for that metallic flake on the paint surface, but I do like this color. It's a deeper red with sort of a copperish undertone, especially in the sunlight. The only color I think I like more is the new tactical green, but I'm curious what you guys think. Would you choose this color? Would you pick something else? Let me know in the comments. And before we get too deep into this in-depth review, I want to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Imagine Autos. They're creating a high-quality, video-centric car purchasing experience. That video part is really important. So if you go to imagineautos.com, they're linked in the description below, or you download their app, you're going to step into interactive spotlights via their walk-around videos, yes, walk-arounds like mine, of the exact car you're looking to buy. So let's say you want to see what condition the tires are in. Look pretty good on the Frontier. Well, you're going to hit the tire icon on the Imagine Autos video, and it's going to jump ahead to show you the tires. It's like so intuitive. And the visuals are clutch. So Imagine Autos is creating a better car purchasing experience with real video and in-app features like augmented reality vehicle assessment, where you can see the kind of car you're looking at in your own driveway or out on the road. It's really neat. So hit the link, go to imagineautos.com, or download their app to see their vehicle selection. Now back to the 22 Frontier. New body design from the ground up, and a very upright face here. So you've got Frontier stamped into this metallic dark gray panel. That looks good. The new Nissan logo in black with red accents on the Pro-4X model. Blacked out honeycomb grille around it. Some hard creases into this hood. It helps it look more muscular. LED headlights with daytime running lights top and bottom to create a sort of letterbox effect. I dig it. This is a fake vent. Does it bother me? No, it's not a performance vehicle. I don't necessarily expect it to be real, but it does actually help in the taller look of the truck. LED fog lights on the Pro-4X, more of that sparkly dark gray, then a silver painted lower panel, 2 red tow hooks, and a front skid plate. That's one of 3 skid plates on the truck. Another one is covering the fuel tank. People have compared the nose to the GMC Canyon or the Toyota Tacoma, and sure, you can see some similarities, but I think it's actually pretty distinctive. Moving to the side now. Well, first of all, you can see the really short overhang and the squared off nose help give this truck one of the best approach angles of any small mid-sized truck, even in the off-road segment. Here we have these black plastic over fenders, which I know we're just going to fade over time. Those would be better if they were in that dark gray metallic like on the face. And with the premium package, we get this set of 17-inch dark gray painted beadlock style wheels. They're not beadlock capable wheels, they're just the style. They're wrapped in Hankook 31-inch 265 section if you want to get specific, all-terrain tires. And Hankook they're not the name in all-terrain tires. You want to look at General Grabber, or BF Goodrich, or even Cooper for more aggressive all-terrain compound. These are going to favor perhaps the on-road quietness and usability over off-road aggression. Here we have body color matching door mirrors, body color matching door handles, dark painted window trim, and we'll step back to get the full profile. The wheelbase is the same 126 inches as the last generation Frontier. And if you want the Pro-4X, you can only have it in the crew cab configuration with a 5-foot bed. Getting to the rear now. Take a gander at that Pro-4X badge here on the bed. LED taillights here and turn signals sandwiched in between. Frontier stamped on the tailgate. Pro-4X badge off to the right. Nissan logo in the center. Down low, plastic cladding for your step up, body color matching around the rear bumper. Peek in at that Bilstein suspension, full size spare tire. And now for 22, big news, the tailgate is damped. Look at that, doesn't come crashing down. And they increase the height of the sidewalls for the bed to give you more usable space back here with the Pro-4X and the convenience package. Yes, it's convenience package. You get these 4 adjustable cleats that run on the rails on the side, very useful. And you get a 120 volt, 400 watt outlet, along with LED bed lighting to illuminate what you're doing, and a spray in bed liner to keep the bed looking good for a long time. Taken as a whole, I think the exterior of the new Frontier is the best looking of its whole segment. Better than the Tacoma, better than the Ranger. Both trucks, I like how they look. This just, it walks the line between modern and muscular so well. Now let's go check out that interior. On our way in, we'll see we have smart keyless entry on this Pro-4X model, so you can leave the key in your pocket, but you got to press this rubberized button right here to both lock and unlock the truck's doors. That means it's not the most sophisticated iteration of the technology, and it's only on the front doors, not the rear ones. So I have to call it partial convenience. Opening up and looking inside. This truck right here has all 3 available option packages on the Pro-4X. It's got the tech pack, it has the convenience pack, it has the premium package. It is fully loaded. The only other things you can add on to a Frontier are standalone accessories from the factory. With the premium package, we're going to be swapping out these standard fabric seats in the Pro-4X for these leather-lined chairs. I like the detailing here on the seat back and that hexagonal pattern there. That looks good. Also, the feel of the leather is excellent. Probably the best feeling leather of any truck in this segment. And the seat comfort. These are Nissan zero gravity seats. You get them in the front and the rears. Just wonderfully supple, supportive seats. The only thing I'm not liking here is that with the premium pack, they swap out the red contrast stitch of the standard Pro-4X for black. And that just sort of makes the cabin look more monotone, right? So instead of having red contrast stitch on the soft touch material passenger side dashboard, it's in black now, and on the seats and on the grab handles, and it just, I want a little more splash of color. This Nissan logo in red helps, but that's about it. You get a power sunroof with, can't remember if it's convenience or premium package. In the doors you get this soft touch material. It's not leatherette, it's not leather, it's just, I don't know, something else, but it feels good, especially as a contrast to the hard plastics around it. Soft touches here on the armrest, very important. The door handle feels nice and solid. You've got 4 power window controls, but only the driver's is 1 touch up and down. And I love this. Look at this power mirror controller. It's looked the same as it has on Nissan products for I don't know how long. The door panels do look a little flat. Not a lot of texture or detail here. You've got 1 piece of piano gloss black, fortunately in a place you're not going to touch too often, so it won't smudge or scratch very easily. Otherwise, just one look to it. Fender is on the speaker cover because this is the upgraded 10-speaker Fender sound system, upgrade over the standard 6-speaker unit. Here, before we get in, I can show you we've got a tow mode button here. All of your safety features can be turned on and off there. Your in-cabin powering of the outlet and the bed outlet can be turned on and off there. Cargo lamp for the LED lighting there, the hill descent control there, traction control, and your electronic locking rear differential. Pop the hood, that's there. To adjust the steering wheel, you pull this lever here. Frustratingly, The steering wheel is not tilt and telescoping, it's only tilt. So it stays at this depth from the dashboard, it just changes the angle. So you hope that your body type where that's just the right arm's length for you, hopefully. Down here we've got all-weather floor mats, standard on the Pro-4X. Those are good. Let's hop inside. And I want to close up this door for you and just listen. Listen to this. So solid, a thunk. That's such a mark of good quality manufacturing. I love that. That's a great indicator here. The steering wheel is basically ported from the larger Nissan Titan, and so it's got nice thickness to the wheel, good slots for your hands at 9 and 3. These buttons on the wheel look a little old, but they work, nothing wrong with them. And then over here, we see the adaptive cruise control setting. You can set your following distance. That is part of the technology package. You also get blind spot monitoring. I don't know if we can see it on the windows there. It's right there. And you get auto emergency braking for both the front and rear. And the rear one is class exclusive. You also get rear cross traffic alerts and a surround view camera system that will access when we turn on the car and show you on this display here. You get a 7-inch TFT display. It's very large for the segment. No one's really doing a fully digital instrument cluster, so this wins right now. You have an analog tachometer here and an analog speedometer on the right. Interestingly, it's got the red accents all the way around, so I guess it's good that this vehicle isn't offered in a manual, so you don't have to really know for sure where the red line is. I guess it's sort of pointed out there. On the TFT, you can jog through all the information you're going to need on-road and off-road. Telemetry data, auxiliary gauges, off-road pages here, speed, settings, tire pressures, also important off-roading, and your driving aids. Up top, we're going to see which driver assistance features we have activated right now, and this is going to be the posted speed limit along with your outside air temperature. There is no head-up display even available on the Frontier. Here we've got a rubberized storage area. And down lower, we've got our 9-inch touchscreen infotainment with standard wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. This is an upgrade over the standard 8-inch touchscreen that also has CarPlay and Auto. What I'll say about this system is this. It's acceptable. It is not insulting in any strong way. I wish it was more user-friendly. I wish it was more customizable, quicker to respond sometimes. Right now it's seeming to be good. The maps seeming to be working just fine, but occasionally this thing will act up and be sluggish. Also, the fact that it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is somewhat of a surprise to me because you can have that on some other Nissan products. So there's probably a software upgrade that's coming. I do like the physical button redundancies here. I like the physical volume knob, nice and chunky. The physical tuner over here, that's all good. There's just some work they can be doing to the UI of the infotainment system. Over here, you've got your 2-speed transfer case controller operating as a dial. Start-stop buttons here. It's probably a good time to show you the only tilt of the steering wheel. So it can only go up, and of course, with me holding it with one hand, I can't adjust it back down. I guess it's just going to stay there. But yeah, no telescoping. That's a bummer for me. Dual zone auto climate control on this Pro-4X model. Look at how prominent this DC socket is over there. You've got 2 USB ports here, a USB-C and a USB-A. Your seat heating controls, which you get on the convenience package, are here, along with your steering wheel heating right there. Some storage in there. And a very Model-esque gear selector. It's so tall and thin with this brushed metal feeling material around it. Pretty sure that's plastic, but it looks good with leather wrapping up top. And I just like the orientation of it just in a vertical format there. And then when you're here, you can click over to the left to access manual mode. You've got 2 cup holders here with a little bit of gloss black surrounding them. This is your key. And we can see it's got remote start, and that's with either the comfort or the convenience or the premium packages. Lock, unlock, and your hazard. But you know what? This key has looked the same for so many years, and it looks the same on Nissan as it does Infiniti products. They need to upgrade that. It's about time. Wireless charging pad here is, again, one of those 2 packages, along with the soft touch material on the center console with, that's real stitching. Good real stitching. Look how deep this center console is. It's it going up to my forearm. Like that. It's got another DC socket in there. over on the passenger side, got that same soft touch material I mentioned with real stitching there. A bin style glove box with enough capacity for the size of the truck. You get a grab handle on the passenger side, no such thing on the driver's side, not even up here. Your sun visor in fabric, nice and thick. I think they've added enough warnings. An incandescent light on that one. Does it slide? Yes, it does. Doesn't go all the way. There's a small gap, not too shabby, but I'll give them points for the slide. You get auto dimming for this rear view mirror with one of those two packages. Sunglass holder in here with some padding. Don't want to scratch up those shades. These are LEDs for the dome lighting, and this is for your sunroof control. So you can just press it in and it will tilt, and then press it back once. You don't have to hold it, and it opens up pretty quick. That gets the thumbs up for me. I'm also going to start up the truck to show you the surround view camera system. So I'll switch into reverse now. Oh, I forgot to show you. I got to turn it off and turn it on again. I want you to see this. Oh, 23 miles per gallon. Not too bad. So I want to show you the animation on the gauge cluster of the Frontier. It's pretty cool. Now, going into reverse. You can see you've got the bird's eye view here and then a wide angle backup camera. The resolution here is not exquisite. It's acceptable. But the fact that you have the surround view camera is not something you're going to see on many of these small trucks. So they get bonus points for that. Let's go check out the rear seats. Let's hear that thunk from the outside. So good. Fuel door? No capless fueling, come on. I want to see it on more vehicles. In the rear cab, you've got the same leather-wrapped, zero-gravity seats, no heating for these rear seats. I do like that they continue the stitch detailing on the seat backs in the rear. I also love that they extend the leather wrapping all the way over the backs of the seats. That's not something you even see in some entry-level luxury vehicles. They go to plastic or injection molding. Here it's all leather. That's good. Grab handle to get up and in, and importantly for ease of entry, these full-size rear doors open very wide. If they were narrow like I've seen in some trucks, it's just very annoying to get in and out. This, not a problem. You got the soft touch material in the doors here, but otherwise a flat design. You don't even have the black gloss like the front to gussy it up. But let's hop up and in and look at the legroom situation. So that's me at 6 feet tall, sitting behind myself. I've got, well, my knees clear, about a ½ inch to an inch of knee room there. The foot pockets are tall enough so I can slide my feet under, but the floor is high enough that I don't really have any thigh support here. My knees are pinched up and in. My head does clear the roof by about a ½ inch if I'm sitting upright. And the seat back angle isn't so aggressive that I feel like I'm almost leaning forward. This has a bit of a recline to it, and that's good. The center armrest comes down, and you've got cup holders. That's nice and thickly padded. That's actually pretty comfy. You've got 2 USB ports here, both illuminated, USB-C and USB-A, along with an AC socket. No air vents back here, but I mean, that's not really something common in the segment. Yeah, in general, I feel like more knee room here. I mean, on a spec sheet, more knee room than the Tacoma, and it actually feels like it. Less knee room than something like the Ford Ranger or even Chevy Colorado, or especially the Jeep Gladiator that has the most rear legroom in the segment. This is tolerable, especially if you're dealing with full-size adults plus kids. Long-term trips, full-size adults, no thanks. And with that, all we have left to do is our big bottle test. It was sitting here on the seat next to me. Close up this door so we don't hear the sirens. Will it fit in the Nissan Frontier? Starting with the front cup holders. Not in there. They're sort of an awkward shape. Does it fit here? Well, yeah, and that's all the way in park, so it wouldn't get in the way. And that stays pretty secure, so I'll give it past there. You got one spot. This is for your charging of your device. Center console. Oh, it's deep enough, and probably wide enough you can get an angle here. You could probably get 2 big bottles in there. Door pocket, what do you got for us? Oh yes, door test, don't even need to do it. It passes. There are plenty of spots for your big bottle in the new Frontier. It passes the big bottle test. And with that, let's rev it on out. Oh, no limiter. Oh yeah. And take it for a drive. But real quick before we do, guys, if you've been enjoying this video thus far, please like, comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Now on with that revving. Well guys, as usual, we're going to start things off with a 0 to 60 test, but in the Frontier, there's no prep work you have to do, no sport mode even to engage, so we're just going to put our foot hard on the brake, give it a light brake boost, and away we go. And there it is, there's 60. Now that was a slight downhill grade, so that certainly helped us out, but that wasn't terrible. The engine did, I think, take a while to get into the meat of the power, probably around 4,000 RPM. I felt like it was coming in stronger there. But we do have segment leading horsepower, 310 horsepower from this 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6 in the long line of Nissan's VQ motors, and a not bad 281 pound-feet of torque. The engine is connected to a 9-speed automatic gearbox that is manufactured by Jatco, and it sends power to a part-time 4-wheel drive system. Of course, there we had it in 2-wheel drive high. The fuel economy rating is 17 city, 22 highway, and 19 combined. Not the best in the segment, but also not terrible. It's kind of right on par with the Toyota Tacoma. It's actually 1 combined MPG lower than the Tacoma. I'm actually going to keep things going here and clamp on these brakes and see how they do. Okay, so not bad. The pedal gets definitely squishier as you got to go deeper in, but the initial bite is there and it managed to haul the vehicle down. We're going to have a chance to test the turning radius of this Frontier Pro-4X in just a sec. All right, here we go. I'll, for the grace of it, give it a wide arc and crank the wheel. Oh man, it needed it. That was a wide turning radius there. Ooh, I think I was probably spoiled. I just hopped out of the Ford Ranger Tremor, and that turning radius was really tight. This was not. Definitely not. Another thing, just thinking about the Ranger I was driving, first of all, the 2.3 liter EcoBoost in that truck is just awesome. It doesn't make as much power as this, but the torque at 310 pound-feet is robust and comes in really early on, whereas this engine, I definitely feel like I do have to push it in there for it to click down some gears and get me some real muscle. It does it, and the transmission is solid. It works its way through the gears smoothly when you're not on it, and otherwise, when you press down, it will oblige and click down some gears. But I feel like it's really missing a sport mode, something to just tell the ECU, hey, we want peppier throttle response here, please give it to us. We don't have that here, and so I'm left with that lingering impression of the Ranger's EcoBoost is like, wow, that one really pepped. Also, the steering in this Frontier is awfully heavy. Oh, thank you. It tells me that there's a toll booth here. I love that. Yeah, the steering is really very heavy. Now, what that means is that I feel like I actually have a decent sense of what's going on, as I'm not just because heavier steering means that, but the way they've dialed in the steering. It's pretty quick to respond in a corner, and the weight gives me some kind of satisfaction turning the wheel, but it is definitely heavy. And so if you're coming out of a truck, even the Ranger again that I was just in, where it's got lighter steering, this is going to take some getting used to. Now that we're here on the highway, cruising at highway speeds, let's talk about, first of all, the fact that these seats are so good. I mentioned it in the interior walk around, but I need to just reiterate, as a stark contrast to what you're going to find in the other trucks in this segment, these seats are fantastic. They're so comfortable that as I'm getting on the highway and I'm thinking about how much longer am I going to have to be driving, I'm not going to be worried that in 10, 15, 30 miles, I'm not going to feel good and fresh at the wheel of the Frontier because these zero gravity seats are so good. I'm making a big point about this, but guys, if you're behind the wheel constantly, seats matter, and these seats really make a difference. While at highway speeds, let's talk about the fact that there is definitely wind noise getting into this cabin, but the tire noise is effectively non-existent. You don't even hear the hum that you typically get with all-terrain, oversized tires. I'm not getting any of that. And again, that's Hankook not being the most aggressive compound, but it also just being really well suited to road comfort. So without that tire noise that you're getting, you just have some wind noise that's a slight disruption at higher speeds, but it's not so loud. The cabin is pretty decently insulated, especially for something at this price point, that you can easily have conversations with your passengers. You're not having to crank up your voice a lot. So, I mean, I'm impressed with it on the highway at these speeds, the insulation in the cabin. And just, I mean, you've got the adaptive cruise control system, which works fairly well. You don't have a lane keep assist system. That is something that you can get in some competitors, something that's standard in some competitors. Here, you don't have it at all. You have a lane departure warning system. I'm gonna give this guy some breathing room here. You have a lane departure warning system that works by vibrating through the steering wheel, and I do appreciate that instead of something that just blares at you with a noise every time you mildly deviate from the lane. It's a lane departure system that works very well. And on the highway, you're not noticing necessarily the laziness of the engine that you experience around town. It's just smooth. It's smooth operation here. So it's great on the highway. And you know what? I think we need to now go do some light off-roading to see how this truck does as its most aggressive Pro-4X trim of the Frontier. So let's click over to that. Now to start off-road, I'm just going to refer to the suspension. So this is not going to be technical stuff. This is just going to be some bumps and bruises on some packed dirt. And we're starting still in two-wheel drive high. So we're working with a Bilstein, or Bilstein, depending on how you pronounce it, monotube suspension. We don't have remote reservoirs. It's not a really hardcore off-road suspension system, but we'll see how it handles the choppier stuff. And how about a mild jump? Oh, slightly more than mild. We did some extra bouncing there, and it took it. The truck took it. Wow, we got some real air. I'm impressed. I didn't think I hit it with that much velocity, but yeah, we really bounced. But the truck took it. Didn't take it quite as softly of a landing as it would have if it was a more aggressive, like Fox suspension system, like you have on the Tremor or on the Tacoma TRD Pro. But it handled that. What you're mostly going to see and probably experience behind the wheel of the Frontier Pro-4X is this kind of chop in here, where the Bilstein suspension is perfectly happy to run through it all. And that V6, if you're working it correctly, will give you the power you need. Again, would still love either a terrain management system with different off-road modes, something that knew that we were off pavement, that would recalibrate the transmission and the throttle mapping, or just a sport mode. Goodness sakes, just a sport mode would be nice. But here, it's just behaving exactly like it would if we were on-road, and that speaks to the light-duty off-roading kind of focus of the Frontier Pro-4X. But to put your minds at ease, yes, it handles the choppier stuff, it handles the harsh little impacts very well, and it can even take a mild-duty jump. All right, so I'll hit pause here, go into neutral, turn the dial over to four-wheel drive high, and we see the switch here from the hollowed out front wheels to now they're filled in. That means that we've got 4 driven wheels. It's back to drive, and away we go. Using the wide turning radius, going over the bumps. And now we're going to have much more confidence putting the power down. And yeah, I am impressed with the Bilstein suspension and with these tires, which maintain the comfort factor. There isn't the aggressive compound of the rivals, and so that means that here, if I clamp on the brakes, it's not really going to haul the vehicle down that well on the dirt, but they absorb the punches of the washboardy roads very well. So you just got to learn how to drive this specific truck, and I think you will be impressed. As I prepare for this small demo of technical off-roading, I'm going to move the display over to show the off-road pages. Here we can see where the power is going, whether the differential is locked in the rear, and our axis of tilt. Then I'll head into neutral and turn the dial while pressing in over to 4-wheel drive low. And because we're on the off-road page, it'll show that the shift is in progress. Back to drive. It says now 4x4 low, so that's worked. And I'm also going to lock up the electronic rear differential. That's going to happen while we move. And you can also see that the screen will prompt the front-facing camera and front right wheel cameras, which are going to be useful. I mentioned during the exterior impressions portion that the approach angle of this Frontier Pro-4X is excellent. It's 32.3 degrees. But the breakover angle at 19.6 degrees and departure angle at 23 degrees are not the best in the segment and will keep me from doing things like this in reverse. I'm going to go up it. I'm not going to go down something like this so we don't jam up in between the wheels. Now that popping you hear is from the full flex of the springs. It's not me bottoming out on a rock. Well, no slip, nothing like that. The tires were fine, and we were able to come up over it, goodness miles, without even needing the electronic rear locker. I'm going to come back over here because I want to show you the wheel articulation over these 2 humps. And now that we're in 4-wheel drive low, of course, turning radius is even worse. I'm going to have to back up just a bit and head over to the right. I'm not going to be using the hill descent control function. We just don't need it here. We're not on a very aggressive slope. But let's head on in. Whee! Elevating that back right wheel for just a second. Again, the pop of the full flex of the springs. All right in the wheelhouse of the Pro-4X. We'll go back into neutral, back to 4-wheel drive high, disengage the E-locker, back to drive, and head on out. Again, that was a very mild demonstration, but I also wouldn't look at the Pro-4X and say, I'm going to go do some crawling in that truck. Let's start with a recap on this Frontier Pro-4X. Things I really like about it, things I think they need to improve. The exterior is excellent. To my eyes, it's the best looking of these small/mid-sized trucks out there right now. The cabin is very nice with the material quality, especially with these packages, and these seats are incredibly comfortable. So good. This ride quality from the Bilstein suspension on-road and off-road is remarkably good. I think it definitely deserves some credit there. Room for improvement. Well, the turning radius is massive. It's very big. Probably not bigger than the Tacomas, but that's not something you should be benchmarking. That turning radius is really bad in that truck too. The infotainment is somewhat clunky, but you know what? Apple CarPlay or Android Auto mostly resolve those issues. And the engine is not as peppy as I'd like it low down. Those are kind of my only big critiques to talk about. So, what are you getting for your money? All the things that I love about it are going to be starting at $38,300 for this Pro-4X trim. As tested with all three of those big option packages, we're looking at $44,000 and some change. That's a pretty good deal. This truck is not going to be competing with some of the vehicles I mentioned earlier, the Ranger Tremor or the Tacoma TRD Pro, the Colorado ZR2, the Jeep Gladiator. All those trucks are really in a higher segment with their traction control systems, their terrain management systems, in some cases the Ranger and the ZR2 with their remote reservoir suspension systems, and they just have more off-road goodies. They're more targeted in that way. This truck is really more aligned with something like the Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road or the Ford Ranger FX4. Those are its more direct rivals, so its $38,300 starting figure closely aligns with the Ranger FX4's $38,100 starting figure or the Tacoma TRD Off-Road's $38,400 starting figure. The power, as I said, is best in segment at 310. The Ranger makes 270. The Tacoma makes 278. 0 to 60 is middling. So the Ranger is going to be quicker, 0 to 60 in 6.8. The Tacoma is going to be slower at 7.7 seconds. The fuel economy is the worst among those that I'm mentioning. So 19 combined is worse than the 20 you get in the Tacoma and the 22 you get in that Ranger FX4. Towing capacity is also going to be the worst at 6,270 pounds, whereas it's 6,800 for the Tacoma and 7,500 for the Ranger. That one crushes it in towing, and if that's a real big interest to you, I would definitely edge you towards that truck. What you're getting with this Frontier Pro-4X is it's a really great bargain for all the features, for the look, for the ride quality, for the out-of-the-box off-road capability. Within reason, it's a heck of a deal at 38 grand. I think it's worth the upgrades for those packages to get these niceties. I don't think there's a nicer cabin, certainly not nicer leather feel, certainly not nicer seats in this segment. I think as a daily driver with occasional off-road use, this Pro-4X is my favorite in the segment. It just is. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this in-depth review. Please like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again next time.